president had with the governor of the Bank of Ghana, it's in about 8 newspapers.
Yeah.
And the curious thing is
Good
almost,
news travels.
well, we'll find out all the details.
Or disputed good news.
Well, it's been something people have been waiting for. So let's just run through the headlines.
Front page of the Daily Graphic. Bernard, my name is Godfred Akuto Buafo.
Yes.
All customers of collapsed banks paid.
Charlie, to reduce your mask somewhere.
Somewhere.
Charlie, it's like
Okay. Okay, I'll deal with it.
No, take the Charlie's your
Let
mask.
me change it.
Charlie's mask.
Give me the give me the doctor one.
I'll do the Ghanaian
More than a
Times.
surgical mask.
Let me do the Ghanaian Times whilst we change. Ghanaian Times, revocation of licenses of 9 banks. BOG pays all depositors. 95% of collapsed microfinance companies also paid. Please, Ghana Armed Forces received 5 pickups from Sanitation Ministry Zoom Lion to monitor and ensure environmental bylaws compliance in Kumasi. Ghana's COVID-19 active cases down from 1,712 to 1,664. And Ghana's digitization agenda, 4 million unique addresses generated for properties so far. This is Vice President Baumia.
Front page of the Daily Graphic. Valko board outlines recovery plan, regulates financing of political party campaigns as CSOs, and all customers of collapsed banks paid. 95% of savings and loans microfinance depositors settled. BOG.
Now, the Chronicle, no more unanswered trick banking. It has a picture of Ernest Addison, governor of the Bank of Ghana. Banking sector crisis, shut up and allow us to clean your mess. President tells Mahama and co. And the Ghanaian dream will be achieved under NDC. This is Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyemang.
Some interesting headlines on the front page of the Daily Guide, Bernard. Listen to this one. MPP student loan rent plans will reduce mental cases. Nagrat lost free Wi-Fi in schools. Baumia dares NDC to show projects in 2 weeks. Ahoy has infected mind, says Amidu.
Charlie.
Now, the finder, all bank depositors fully paid. 95% of savings and loans microfinance also paid. This is Dr. Addison. COVID-19 has delayed but didn't derail Ghana's progress. Dr. Baumia speaking. No interest, principal payments under a Japa royalties deal upon Kroma, and NPP will win 2020 elections by 1.5 million votes. This is McMenu.
The front page of the Daily Statesman also goes with the president's visit to the Bank of Ghana. We've fully paid all customers. BOG updates Ghanaians on inherited banking sector mess. Data cost to further go down in MPP's second term.
The BOG story is also on the front page of the Ghanaian Observer. And some other stories. Free electricity not possible under NDC. This is Deputy Minister of Energy, Dr. Amin Adam. Akufo-Addo lauds Bank of Ghana for the work they've done so far. NDC will collapse free senior high school, Baumia, and Sanitation Ministry, Zoom Lion, resource the police and the Ghana Armed Forces.
Front page of the Ghanaian Publisher, still going with the banking story. It's everywhere, Bernard, you're right. 8, of course. All bank depositors fully paid. Cape Coast, like who too deserves an airport. Baumia replies, critics, assembly members endorse Akufo-Addo. He's the right president for Ghana, and 40-bed district hospital for Okre.
The bank story is also on the front page of the New Crusading Guide. But their angle says BOG performance fantastic. Akufo-Addo appreciates Addison and his team. NDC will collapse free senior high school, also showing up again. It was on the front page of the Ghanaian Observer. And ADB to support outgrower farmers under 1D, 1F.
Front page of the Herald newspaper, CSOs demand facts from government on opaque Ejapa deal. Akufo-Addo and Oforiatta in suspicious $300,000 annual payment to lobby firm. Dossier before America's Justice Department for investigation.
Now the custodian, Baumia, throws new challenge as NDC fights for Akufo-Addo Mahama debate. Over 9 million NHIS subscribers used mobile renewal service in 6 months. Upon Nkrumah explains a Japa royalties deal, and government feeds junior high school final year students and teachers in 17,440 schools.
The BNFT has aviation on its mind, and on its front page, Pram Airport still on government's mind. Kofi Ada expanding Kotoka, also another option.
Now the informer, Nooks, is happy about the government proposal on the guarantor system for students' loan. Amidu TKO's Kwame Ahoy calls him liar. Volta chiefs commend Rawlings in the face of Kwame Ahoy's provocation. An award of MMI contract. We saved Ghana $1 billion. Baumia discloses And that is the mobile money interoperability. And ignore Ahoy lies and wait for my bombshell. Rolling Stills Voltarians.
Let me
Now,
okay.
final newspaper from me, the new publisher. Vote for Papano. Mahama declares. Please invite Miss Bell.
Not Papano.
Not Papano.
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 Okay.
Siraj touts Baumia as best VIP. And more jobs in the future is my focus, says Afenyo Markin.
CitiNewsroom.com. 2 soldiers residents of Domifasi critically injured after clash over land. Also, Asokore Mampoman with 355 voter ID cards duplicates arrested. 355. 55. Meanwhile, Ghana records 9 new COVID-19 deaths as active cases dropped to 2,608. And Upon Kroma says we've been transparent with the Japan royalties deal. Now, still on CitiNewsroom.com, 41 shops of foreign retailers locked up at Xiamen Magazine. I don't accept campaign donations above 50,000 cedis. This is Merrick Kofi Gain. And high campaign cost cause of dismissal of chief executives of MMDAs. This is according to Domelevo. CitiBusinessNews.com. Gold and less volatile currencies growing in attractiveness according to an economist. Critics of a Japan royalties agreement lack understanding of the deal. This is Charles Edubuahin. And there you have it. We've paid all depositors of collapsed banks, BOG governor says. If you go to myjoyonline.com, mixed reactions at St. Joseph's JHS over government's hot meal. Meanwhile, politicians must not use their inability to create jobs to regularize Okada, according to Cecil Gabra. And 2 soldiers allegedly assaulted at Domifasi over land. That story is also on my journal. If you go to Star News, they have that story as well. Irate Domifasi youth assault soldiers in land dispute. Meanwhile, Mantel says a Japan deal is state capture. Stop it now. Baumia to NDC, build the delivery trackers. Let's interrogate it. And Nanaya Jantua to Nkrumah is collapse your small parties and come home. Come home and come home. All right.
Back.
Let's deal with this bank issue.
Okay.
Yesterday, the president visited the Bank of Ghana, met the governor, and after interactions, this was the revelation.
Yeah, that's all customers of collapsed banks are paying paid.
Yes.
The governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, has said the receiver of the collapsed banks has settled all payments due depositors. The governor said 95% of the customers of savings and loans companies, microfinance institutions, and finance houses had also been paid their deposits and investments. Dr. Addison, briefing the president Nana Akufo-Addo at the BOG yesterday on a number of issues in the financial sector, especially the banking crisis, said there was just about 5% of depositors of the non-bank financial institutions which had large amounts of money to be settled that were swapped with bonds which were to be retired over 5 years. He also indicated that there were a few delays regarding depositors of the GN Bank, GN Savings and Loans, and First Allied Savings and Loans, which were cleared last 3 weeks. The governor added that the government had provided a bond worth 1.7 billion cedis, out of which 700 million Ghana cedis had been monetized, with which the receiver was also working at clearing the last people who were left in this segment.
That's what he meant by the second phase of payment to do with savings and loans and microfinance, 95%. Then there's the issue of fund management companies who are yet to be paid. In one of the stories, it mentions that their payment process will also begin because they are SEC regulated and therefore it doesn't affect the BOG. But the Chronicles headline is quite interesting.
Shut up and allow us to clean your mess. The story is by Maxwell Ofuri, and the story says the president, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, has bemoaned the attitude of the opposition, pointing accusing fingers at his government, which is rather cleaning the mess they left in the banking and other financial sectors. The president says he is not perturbed over such an attitude, knowing very well the need for political opponents to agitate. He said this when he visited the Bank of Ghana, accompanied by the Chief of Staff and the Finance Minister. Now, commenting on the banking sector reforms, President Akufo-Addo said the manner in which the reforms were carried out sparked controversy, with those responsible turning round to accuse his government, which is rather fixing the mess. And he said, I know there's a lot of controversy. There are many of the other people responsible for the crisis in the first place, and they find it convenient to be pointing accusing fingers at those of us trying to clean up the mess. But those things never bother me too much because I understand the need for politicians to agitate. Now,
meanwhile, still on that
there's a breakdown.
page, there's something they say no more anancetric banking.
Yes, but let me give you a breakdown of the amount paid so far.
Yes,
and then
please. Yes, please.
Now, there were a few delays regarding depositors of GN and First Allied in the last 3 weeks that have also been cleared. That is according to this story. And the government has provided a bond worth 1.7 billion Ghana cedis, which we have monetized 700 million cedis. So the receiver is also working at clearing the last people that are left in the segment. So this is.
So last week when we opened the phone lines on this, most of the calls were from GN Bank customers. So can you repeat that, please, so we are sure what they are saying?
Okay, so this is the BOG boss giving the president an account of the work they've done so far. And he said that there were a few delays regarding depositors of GN Bank and First Allied. And the last 3 weeks that have also been cleared. And the government has provided a bond worth 1.7 billion Ghana cedis, which we have monetized 700 million cedis.
Okay.
So the receiver is also working excuse me, at clearing the last people that are left in the segment.
Still on the banking sector, there's another story.
No more unanswered trick banking.
Okay.
Same Max Olofori writes that the governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, has assured the president, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, that at the moment it is almost impossible for a bank to operate in Ghana without any capital. According to him, following the banking sector crisis and the subsequent reforms, measures have been put in place to eliminate human interventions in the capital verification process, so the data the regulator received is never distorted. Now, he said this was done because initially there were lots of data falsification by financial institutions to the central bank. And to tackle this, he said the new technology had been put in place to deal with this.
And just a quick update, as the president didn't just visit the Bank of Ghana offices, he visited the Ghana Stock Exchange. So he went to the Citi house.
Okay.
And according to the story, he spoke to the managing director, Ekoa Feji, and his team. And quote, I think a strong stock exchange, a robust stock exchange is usually a very good mirror reflection of a strong market economy. If indeed the stock exchange is a critical instrument for growing a country's economy and thereby growing the possibility of the people more and more prosperous, I think it is important for those of us who have to make decisions affecting the economy to have a clearer idea of what is going on here.
Now, the second story I want you to touch on is the Ejapa deal. CSOs have met. 15 of them say they are having none of it. Information Minister and the Deputy Finance Minister have been reacting.
Page 5 of the finder, CSOs demand more consultations on the Ejapa royalties.
Yes.
Isaac Edu writes that some 15 civil society organizations in Ghana's extractives industry have called for the suspension of the implementation of the Minerals Income Investment Fund Act and the Ejapa royalties transaction. Beyond urging the government to exhaust consultations on the Ejapa deal to win public support for smooth implementation of the act, the CSOs also called for the establishment of a multi-stakeholder process to review all options to optimize the mineral royalties in order to secure risk-free revenue to the state. Reading a statement on behalf of the CSOs in Accra yesterday, Chairman of the Civil Society's Platform on Oil and Gas, Dr. Steve Mantial, called on the President, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, to suspend the implementation of the MIIF until all documents relating to the establishment of the Ejapa royalties and its beneficial owners had been disclosed.
Let me give you two reactions.
Okay.
Information Minister Kojo Oponkroma said government has been transparent in all transactions regarding the Ejapa royalties deal. He was speaking on Eyewitness News where he said that the government has no intention to hide information from the public. Quote, we will not share in this view that there's an opaque transaction or this is an opaque transaction. An opaque transaction doesn't go to Parliament with agreements attached with legal backing with a full debate on the legal structure and the specific structure transactions as we have done. There is no intent to be opaque, and this is why we have gone through this elaborate, transparent process. Still on reactions, critics of Ejapa royalties deal lack understanding of the deal. This is Charles Idubahim from yesterday's interview. Deputy Minister of Finance Charles Idubahim has accused critics of the Ejapa royalties minerals agreement, which seeks to leverage Ghana's gold royalties to raise capital on the London and Ghana stock exchanges, of lacking understanding on the current deal, hence their opposition. Mr. Dubai explained that the agreement will eventually lead to government getting much needed funds to invest in a myriad of developmental projects.
More explanations, other angles from Kojo Oponkoma's explanations. He said that Ejapa royalties will be responsible for managing 75.6% of Ghana's royalty inflow from the 12 gold mining companies that currently operate in the country. The remaining royalty inflows will be shared between the mineral MIIF to pay the Mineral Development Fund and then the Ghana Revenue Authority.
Then finally, Tekpe is quoted by Joe Online as saying Japan deal sends bad signal to investors. Story says former finance minister under the NDC administration said Tekpe has kicked against the Japan minerals royalties deal. He said the deal sends a bad signal to investors, especially foreign ones. Speaking on the Super Morning Show, explained that for a country like Ghana, which is under money laundering watch, it is risky to engage in shady tax agreements. And then it talks about the Jersey place for the arrangement to be done, and then gives other things on the GIIF.
Well, the CSOs have been busy. It wasn't just a Japan on their mind. Regulate financing of political party campaigns.
Okay.
It's another thing that they are talking about on page 16 of the Daily Graphic. A coalition of civil society organizations has called for collective action involving state and non-state actors to regulate the financing of political party campaigns to safeguard the country's democracy. At the 4th National Dialogue on Campaign Financing held in Accra today, discussants said the time had come for bold steps to be taken to amend the Political Parties Act 574 and introduce watertight regimes to curb the over-monetization of the election process.
In fact, in that same program, Daniel Yademalova said one of the reasons why chief executives are sacked is because of this issue of monetization of our politics. But let's go to Domifasi. Two soldiers, residents of Domifasi, critically injured after clash over land. Two individuals believed to be military personnel and some civilians have sustained severe injuries after a clash between them and some residents of Domifasi near Obum, Domiabra in the Greater Accra region. Tuesday's clash was over a land boundary dispute. The coalition of Ga communities, which comprises 20 communities and share border with the eastern region, have alleged that the Mponyahini of Achim Mapejua and the Achim Traditional Council were taking their farmlands from them, hence their resistance that led to the chaos. Now, at a press conference, Divisional Chief of Obom Traditional Council, Nick Bakbo Amate, blamed the Ghana Armed Forces for getting involved in chieftaincy issues. Then he goes on to say, we are in an era of intimidation. The Achim Mponyahini and the Estate Development Company should be mindful that administrative boundaries do not serve as chieftaincy boundaries. Moreover, nobody is above the law of the country. And then one of the military men who was assaulted by the angry crowd who spoke to Citi News said that they were wrongly assaulted and that their work was to give warning shots so that the other side will stop, both leaders sit down and talk. But it did not happen. They came and attacked us and said we came here voluntarily and not by assignment. We are known soldiers and we are not doing anything illegal or criminal. My major concern is that the people didn't ask us anything and just started beating us. There are so many angles to this. On Eyewitness News, we spoke to the MP for the area and somebody else who gave a different account. We'll try and get to the bottom of that matter on the show today.
Since Okada is
still big,
back page of the Daily Graphic, motorbike accidents in Ashanti region on the rise. The number of recorded motorbike and motor tricycle accidents in the Ashanti region keeps rising in spite of measures the MTTD of the Ghana Police Service has put in place to curb. The region had, as of the end of July this year, recorded 98 deaths from motorbike and motor tricycle accidents. In an interview with the Daily Graphic, the Ashanti Police Regional Commander of MTTD, Superintendent Mr. Emmanuel Dubois, said the statistics indicated an increase of 16% over cases recorded around the same time last year. And there are some interesting numbers here, so you can get a copy of the paper.
Now there's a lot of infrastructure going on. Health Minister cuts sword for construction of district hospital at Edukrom. That is one. Construction of Mahia, a Fuhrman in Sakina Uduman Road begins in earnest. I remember Citi Newsroom.
This road has seen a few demonstrations.
Yes, so the MCE for the area has cut the sword. Now
is that Clement Wilkinson?
Yes, Clement Wilkinson.
Charlie, that guy needs an
Clement Nilamte Wilkinson.
One of the most active MCEs in, at least within Citi News coverage. Serious guy.
Now the other one is Tema Industrial Area to Pone. 7.5 kilometer dualization.
Tell me about
all
it.
Those. That one too. The sword has been cut, and it will take 24 months.
Well, the Nzema chiefs are asking Baumia to fulfill his Etuabo Freeport project promise. This is on citynewsroom.com. The paramount chief of Nzema, Eastern Nzema, who doubles as chief of Etuabo, Awulai Amihir Banyi, has called on the vice president to fulfill his promise to make the construction of the Etuabo Freeport a reality. While speaking to the Nzema chiefs at a Kundum festival on Sunday, October 28, 2018, Dr. Baumia assured that the current administration would construct the Etuabo Freeport, but nothing has been heard about the project since the promise was made. Awulai, while speaking to Citi News at Etuabo, said the people of Nzema are still waiting patiently for the Freeport after investors were scared away by a lawsuit initiated by some 5 MPP MPs in 2014. So that's something that you keep an eye on.
Now the new publisher, Vote for Papano, it's writing about former President John Mahama, and they write that in the view of Mr. Mahama, who was addressing the chiefs of people of Sikoko in the Volta region, Ghanaians must vote for him as Papano, making a case for his presidential bid. And in a video circulating on social media, the flag bearer of the opposition NDC was campaigning and told the constituency to vote for the Papano. That's him making the search for the goes on and on and on.
On page 2 of the
Tired.
Ghanaian publisher newspaper, Citi TV Voters Diary begins in September. With Citi TV, the sister station to Citi FM, Citi TV, the sister station to Citi FM, will kickstart its first election program, Voters Diary. Though an election program is not new to Citi FM, this is the first time the TV station will be airing such an event since its inception in 2018.
All right, let me give you a couple of stories. Valko board outlines recovery plan. Graphic page 16. The Ghana Integrated Aluminium Development Corporation (GIDEC) and the Volta Aluminium Company Limited (Valko) have jointly embarked on a recovery plan aimed at improving Valko's fortunes and returning to profitability. The 5-year plan involves getting a strategic investor and also revamping the Valko plant by deploying modern technology and equipment to boost its productive efficiency.
A final one for you, Bernard. Smallholder farmers raise concerns over looming food shortage. And the story in the custodian says most smallholder farmers in the northern region have reduced the sizes of their farms because they say they could not raise enough capital for the new farming season, because during the lockdown of COVID-19 they couldn't sell their produce in Accra and Kumasi, so they couldn't raise capital.
I'm going to give you 2 more stories. This is a good one. Wild polio eradicated from Africa according to WHO. This is on citynewsroom.com. The Independent Africa Regional Certification Commission for Polio Eradication on Tuesday officially declared WHO Africa region free of wild polio virus. This marks the eradication of the second virus from the face of the continent since smallpox 40 years ago. And it's a big story, but it's hidden in some corner. The other story is on City Sports Online. Barcelona fans descend on Camp Nou in Messi exit outrage. Probably the biggest story in sports since Jose Mourinho left Chelsea.
In a very long time.
Yeah, Lionel Messi says he's leaving Barcelona, and it set a lot of things happening. A whole chain reaction. It could redefine the landscape of European football if he decides to take
fans of Liberty Professionals are contributing to see if we can buy him and bring him to.
All right, we'll be right back with business and sports. That was a newspaper review on City Breakfast Show. Stay with us.
This is the City Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
Charlie, check this.